Okay, it's 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Everyone has a copy of the public charge. Please turn your cell phones off. Don't speak, don't have side conversations. Speak when someone else is speaking. The minutes from the May meeting have a few corrections that need to be made. So those will be presented and approved at the July board meeting. Okay. Is there anyone who has public comment? We have a few people who have requested to be on the agenda. Glenda?
Yeah, I am here to talk about the Bluff Mountain Outfitter condemned building. And I talked to Danny at the county meeting, at the county inspector, and he said he has been referred. He talked to Abby about it, and she was going to consult with Larry. So it seems to be bouncing back and forth and not getting anywhere. I understand that the building is owned from here, who does not live here. So she has several condemned buildings, and it seems like the town of Hot Springs is afraid of her for some reason to do anything about it. So I have been on this thing since April, and nothing's happening. And it seems like an awning that is not very pretty seems to get taken down just fine. And the parking lot that does not belong to the town also seems to get done pretty fast. So I'm a little annoyed at the thing it's taken because I keep looking at that awning and the danger that it is presenting itself. Now I was also looking towards the signage, and I know it's not an awning, but the signage, if something is dangerous and not safe, says you're fined $50, and then within 30 days, if it's not fixed, the town can take it down and get reinstituted for it. So if a sign can get done for that, a dangerous awning, which is coming out, there's a nail that is on the side that is out. It can fall down any time, and I understand that. But I also want to address just the older women of this thing, because it says on the town website, the town of Hot Springs operates under a mayor-council form of government. The Board of Aldermen is responsible for establishing town policies, passing local ordinances, and approving the annual municipal budget. So I'm addressing the three of you on this, for this question.
Do we, at school board meetings, we don't talk back, we listen and then we,
Well,
you actually
on the
discuss.
agenda, they're allowed 5 minutes and the board can respond. And we sent that to Danny. So the county building inspector had to move first, and he has done that.
Mm-hmm.
That is now with our attorney,
Mm-hmm.
and he has sent letters to the
Mhm.
property owners,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a certain amount of time that they have to respond to him, and we're in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the awning, we did ask Larry if we were allowed to take something off of that property, and we're not, because we don't own
Don't
it.
own it.
It says
So,
here, though,
and then,
if it's a danger.
the parking lot, we paved the lines on that street that belong to the town. No, we don't have a survey to say that we didn't get over on private property, but we had a Google Earth, map showing where it was before the flood. So he does not have much property left on the side of that road. So if we painted those lines on his property, then we can of course scrape that off and paint them a little farther over. But those parking spaces belong to the town, and we were just replacing something that was damaged from Hurricane Helene, from the flood. Let's see, Did I answer all your questions?
Well, no, yes and no. The thing is regarding that awning is, you know, he said he had sent her a certified letter. And
Well,
so,
it's not just about the awning though. We've sent,
Well,
he
but
has sent a couple of letters.
one thing about the letter was it did not give a time frame or a consequence. And I think when you're dealing with people that have not been dealing with their property for years, they may need that level of incentive to actually respond.
That was the letter from Danny, the
Right.
county building inspector. Larry
Larry's letter was
has
different.
also sent a letter.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I'd love to
Well,
see it.
I would too. He's not here, we'll ask him for it. But, yeah, so they have a certain amount of time to respond, and then the town can take action if they don't respond by then.
But there, we have no recourse for something that is dangling and dangerous over public infrastructure? That's hard to
Well, you
believe.
know, we asked him if we could take that awning down, and he said no.
If it falls and hits somebody, guess who's liable?
Exactly.
So, it's no
Okay.
recourse to the town, unfortunately.
If someone's walking down our sidewalk and gets hit by someone else's property, the property owner is gonna,
The property owner is responsible.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Glenda.
yep, thank you.
Tim,
Hi. I would just like to request an extension of noise ordinance for July 4th. We're gonna have Pierce and Kevo playing. Obviously, we're gonna have to take an extended break for fireworks, so we'd like to be able to play a little longer in the evening. We're asking for 12. We're probably only gonna go to 11:30, but we like to have that cushion for encores, or if somebody walks up and says, guys, we'll give you $100 if you play one more song. We'd like them to be able to do that. So we'd like to officially make it 12. Don't necessarily think we're gonna be playing till 12, but, you know, on 4th of July, people are gonna be shooting fireworks and firearms into God knows how long in the night, so we'd like to go till 12.
okay, does the board approve the extension of the
I think we,
live music for July 4th for Spring Creek Tavern until midnight?
I'll make that one.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you.
And I hope you get the $100.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope you get the $100.
Kristen? Kristen, do you still wanna say anything, or are you just gonna wait until you go to the planning board?
You advised me to go to the planning board, so I was
Right.
assuming to go.
But you're still on the agenda, so
Oh,
Okay. if you don't, that's fine.
You don't have to be.
cool.
Okay. Sina?
Okay, so I hope the links work for us. But first we'd like to introduce Brian from Land of Sky. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. He came up here from Asheville, I presume? I don't know where.
Yeah, more or less.
But I thought it might be good to introduce some of what Land of Sky is doing, and then related to CDBG.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Brian White. I'm a regional project manager with Land of Sky Regional Council. And so we cover Madison, Buncombe, Henderson, and Transylvania counties, and support the counties and towns through capacity support and technical assistance, particularly around a lot of grant funding, navigating federal and state funding, especially as it pertains to a lot of the hurricane recovery projects that are going on. So I would say from our office, we probably have half a dozen people or so working with the town on different grants and funding, whether that's FEMA or through NC Commerce or HUD, whatever it might be. And currently, we're working with the town on some community development block grant funding for commercial district revitalization. And I'll just, so that program has a big pot of money, around $111 billion, to support projects across, western North Carolina, with a $10 million cap per project. I'll put that caveat in there, but in working with the town, there have been a couple of commercial district revitalization projects identified. Sienna, I don't know if you want to go into that.
Are you all familiar with the projects we're looking at? Like the community center, jailhouse?
Yes,
Then-
yeah. So it'd be, one project would be revitalizing this space in the jailhouse. The other is second floor of town hall, to hopefully create some commercial or office space there. And then a little further down the road will be another tranche of funding for community infrastructure, where we've identified a resilience hub at the volunteer fire department, if I'm not mistaken. That application will open in July, but the commercial district revitalization will have submitted by the first week of August, and there'll be 2 rounds of that. So on our end, we're working on getting the public notices ready, so y'all should see that come up in the newspaper here soon, and then I think over the course of the next couple of meetings, we'll get into a little bit more details about designs, and which direction those projects will go. I can leave some business cards here in case anybody wants to reach out and contact me. Sina also has my email, but feel free to reach out with any questions about that. But so excited to work with the town, work with you all to make some improvements and bring some of these buildings back to life. So that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Brian. We were approached, I think, possibly with the rebuild and Mountain True. We're working on the NCDOT Hot Springs Bridge access. So when the old bridge comes down, we were approached, and I think this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier today, that when that bridge comes down, NCDOT would maintain ownership and the town has the ability to apply for an encroachment agreement. I think this is probably, will end up being a longer conversation with Larry as we dive further into that. We did meet with the spa last week, I think Friday afternoon, and discuss what, some of we would be their neighbor, so we would like to be good neighbors and address any concerns that they may have, and they brought up some liability concerns. So we went back to Mountain True. We've been working with Jack over there, and so this is what he has put together and a little bit more of a background on that. There's a map of it. There's where the DOT is. So it's a fairly small area, but it would be nice to have river access with them walking to town and a small parking lot over there if possibly feasible. So I thought at this time we would ask the board to approve us applying for the encroachment agreement, but I don't feel that we are quite ready for that. I think we need to talk to Larry a little bit more, and we haven't done that yet. So, but that's what that's about. Do you have any questions about
Yeah,
that?
where you've got in
Sure.
there, the email from Jack.
Uh-huh.
In there, you said at this point, it sounds like the request needs to come from the town of Hot Springs versus, say, Mountain True.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and he understands that my role has been and will continue to be the guide and manage this endeavor, but we would need for us to write the letter about that. So are we writing the letter from us to Department of the DOT?
Correct.
It'll come directly from our town or ourselves to DOT.
Yes, yes. Yes, and Mountain True says that they can help maintain the area or do some plantings, like they're willing and able, and they are really great because they've navigated these kind of easements and encroachment agreements before. So I thought we might be ready for the letter, but I think we need to still do some more research, so.
So you don't need anything from us on this one yet, right?
No, but I thought it'd be good for y'all to know that it's in the works right now. Okay, so that's that one. And then We have gotten some small business grants, and this is to replace the sidewalks on Bridge Street and Andrews Ave. There's a slight pause on that. DOT is going to be redoing Bridge Street this fall, thinking maybe October. So we're gonna wait till they complete their process. They're gonna be redoing the drainage and repaving the road, because when they paved it after the storm, it's much higher. So rather than us be doing projects at the same time, there's gonna be lane closures, there's a lot to coordinate. So, but there's another round of funding of small, of small business grants open. And we were, one of the things that we had looked at, Sonia had looked at with other grants, was lighting, historic lighting for Andrews Ave and down Bridge Street. So we would like, with help, Land of Sky is helping us apply for the grant. They would be the grant administrators on it, help with the reporting. We don't have the grant in front of us, but we would like to apply for it. I believe it's due June 3rd. It would include the lighting, and the lighting, I think, is about $56,000, and then possibly apply to redo the sidewalk going up Spring Street, or South Spring Street is what it would be, towards Hazelwood House, Chestnut Hall, and Pine Hall. The goal is, so there's a couple things that have to happen in those grants, and that has to be affected by the storm and businesses. It's about economic development, and I think that would help make that area more walkable. If you've ever walked that sidewalk, it could be a lot more pleasant. So.
Now, I'm just gonna back you up just a little bit.
Sure.
So that we have a good communication to the town or to the residents that are sitting in here as far as sidewalks go, walking down by where Glenda just talked about Bluff Mountain a moment ago. So I'm walking down Main Street. So I just wanna clarify that we're not waiting on a grant to do that. We would just be waiting until October, until they pave that. But we already have a solid funding source and solid sidewalks that are going to be there. It's just that we are not doing them until October. So we might want to send out just a communication out to say, this is done, this is when it's gonna happen, this is done, this is when it's gonna happen. Because it's great to have all of our grants going and all of those wonderful things happening, but the day-to-day still is what everyone that lives here sees. And I feel like the day-to-day is still critical and important to our residents to know, okay, no, they already got the sidewalks done. It's not that they're just not thinking about it or not doing it.
Yeah, we
So-
definitely got the funding, and I think the DOT did cause a bit of a delay, but McGill has done the surveys, and McGill, NCDOT, and the town are all working together. We don't have an exact date. DOT is gonna do the paving. I think their goal was like the next 2 weeks to have, I guess, more solid plan, because they want to go bidding, and then DOT has to finish their process. So, but I hear what you're saying about having, like, what grants have been awarded and maybe expected timelines, so folks see, if you see something broken, it might not be
And it
lasting.
doesn't even have to be complicated. It could just be to where we're saying, you know, this is what we've got coming and this will be done in October, just so our residents know that. you
Yeah.
know, that matters and that we are getting it done. I know even in rebuild, now I didn't get to go to the last rebuild meeting, but TJ can speak to this later on, but I do know we talked about many different things like planters and seating and wonderful ideas to go with those sidewalks once they're actually there. So that's like the vision for everybody. I just don't want everybody to think that we've forgotten about the sidewalks and about all of those good things.
Yep, sure thing.
Do you know if there's any timeline, like as far as like how long it takes to pave the road?
I don't know. We were more concerned with like grading and drainage and the coordination of the project. I know the DOT has funding that they're anxious to use, and so I don't think that it's going to last an extraordinarily long time. I'm hoping not, but it will require like lane closures and different things.
Yeah,
and-
I was just thinking about it being leaf season and everyone finally being open again.
Yeah.
Another speed bump.
I don't know that we have the ability to coach DOT, but I know that we could pause our sidewalks to not cause further inconvenience. So,
Didn't they say that October would be, as long as they get, the request in, some of this money's coming from the Federal Highway Commission, since that's a federal highway. to help DOT repair that road, so they have to have it in by July, and then possibly the bid could be let in October, is that what?
I thought the bid would be let in September, and I
September.
think they were gonna start in October, so it'd be possibly 30 days, whatever date happens in September it goes. So we're really trying to work quickly with them and McGill, so that we don't further delay it, but it's gonna be a little coordination on the design portion. So, but there is, a map in there, if you look at it, it'll show the different colors, what's been awarded, what we're looking at getting awarded, and then, what Sonia had worked on with the dark sky project and the lighting, that's the possible light places they would go. Okay, and then, so the community center and jailhouse is a link to the rebuild page, that has the designs and talks a bit about more of what Julie with ADC has done, and, so we're hoping to have, we wanted to let you know about these I don't know if you had a chance to look at the designs or not, and look,
Yeah.
it gives them a little bit more time to accept community feedback as well. And so they are, working together, and then I think this is probably part of the CDBG funding that we would be applying for. So we'll have to have a public hearing. I think Land of Sky is gonna put up the public hearing likely for the July 13th meeting, so it has to be an official public meeting. And that'll be where the community could give their feedback. And then ideally, mid-June, sometime this month, ADC will have a second rendition of a plan. I don't know if they're just gonna do one plan or maybe a couple more, I'm not sure. But as you can see from the plans that they shared, they're all very unique and varied, but it was all based on community input. And so this next design will be too.
I like how they're taking all the elements and putting them into one design. So that's-
Yeah, yep, exactly. And so part of with the CDBG funding, there's things like base flood height they have to consider and a bunch of different things. And through Land of Sky, we have an engineering firm that can do the preliminary report and scope of work, and that will be what we use to apply for CDBG funding based on the ADC design. So, and then, but wait, there's more. EDA, Economic Development Association, they have also, our administration have also approached the town. And this is something for the far future, but not so far. So what they're asking the board to consider is approving a letter of support. And what that letter of support will provide, if it helps show that there's interest in this EDA grant. What is this EDA grant? This will be in about 6 or so months, if they receive the funding. There'd be a team of 4 people. One from the State Resilience Office, one from like COGS, Land of Sky probably, nonprofit involved, and I forget what the other person is from. But their goal would be, with community town input, is to create 3 to 5 discussion projects. And then from those discussion projects is choose one to pursue funding on. Their funding ideally would last 2 years. And then they would have funds for doing the design and the engineering portion. They would create a grant-ready project. When Brad was here, there was a lot of talk about the wastewater treatment plant site. Whether or not it's that or something else, it would be what, the town would see the most benefit in, would feel the most ready with too. So, that is the letter of support, if you would like. Do you have any questions about that?
Does the board agree to authorize this letter of support to the EDA Disaster Supplemental Funding Review Panel?
Did they give you the language they wanted in it? It looked like a pretty generic one, so.
They actually sent it over and just put it on letterhead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Awesome, thank you. And we were awarded the USDA grant, and that is for the contents lost in the storm. So things at a town hall, the police department, public works, it will replace the contents. The grant is for about $128,000, and it is a, I don't know, 20 pages of information that we can go over. No, I'm kidding. So,
That's great though.
yeah, absolutely incredible. It was another one that Dustin at Land to Sky had helped us get that. And I believe someone you all know, maybe some of you know Pam from USDA, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she helped with that, and again, we had to do like a formal public hearing with that, which we did at one of our meetings. And so, how this one would work, we would approve, if you approve the official acceptance of this grant, Abby will do the resolution and sign the other documents. We'll scan those, send those back to Josh at USDA, and then he will have his boss sign those, and then it might be a week or two, and then we would do the official transfer of funds.
Have a motion to approve the USDA, sorry,
The acceptance.
the
I'm so
USDA
sorry.
grant.
I wanna do that one. Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll leave it in there in case you do want to look at, but I think it's gonna be like a reimbursement. We might get different allocations on it.
Okay, I'll sign the other 20 documents tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good. And then next, are there any questions about other projects? Just going, okay. So next up, we have the budget worksheet, which you have seen, and then we have the proposed budget ordinance. When Sydney was here moments ago,
She's still here.
is she still here?
Over here.
Oh, hey! I didn't see you over there, sorry about that. We have, during, where the debt set off. So if you look at the Word document, so this is,
Doesn't work.
Mine's not coming off.
I think you have to right click.
It's, when we right click, it's not working either.
No, it stopped working too.
Even by browser default.
Yes.
We're trying.
When I went to right click in browser default, it came up.
Nope.
I printed it earlier, but then I left it on my desk, so I don't.
Well, I think Abby and Larry have a copy. I'll print a couple copies. But this is all based on the budget worksheet.
But we have the ordinance in front of us, though. We have that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. That's
Yeah,
what
that-
you need to look at.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at, paper-wise.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So, we realized the debt service needed to increase by about $12,000 for the maintenance truck. We have, 3 loans, 2 for the fire department, 1 for the maintenance truck,
Police car.
and the police car. So there's 4, and only 3 were added, so we will need to make that change, add the $12,000 on there for the debt service, and that will change the appropriated fund balance. So, but if you are good with this proposal, I can make those changes, and, we can post it publicly for folks to view. Have copies in here.
And it'll change the appropriated fund balance, is that what you
Mhm.
said?
Yep.
So the only thing that changed on here, like what you said, was just the debt service.
Mm-hmm.
increases by
12,000.
Mm-hmm. It's 12,000 and something, so
It's 12.
we have 4 loans instead of 3.
Okay, we'll make those corrections and the budget ordinance will be available for the public to review for, 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Then we will call a special meeting to, adopt and approve the budget. So do you want to go ahead and set up that special meeting now?
Sure.
That'll be the week of the 20s. We need time to post it, so either the 23rd or 25th.
I'll be out of town that week.
We're gonna
But
do
y'all
next
could
week.
still do it.
Huh?
Y'all could still meet.
29th.
Y'all could be, yeah, you need you here too.
And I'm on the next week, the 26th.
Or the
Yeah.
first week of,
It has to be done by
Before
June
July.
30th,
oh, no, yeah.
yeah, before July 1st. Um,
How about the 29th?
What day's that on?
Monday?
She'll be gone.
Monday, we be gone on
I'll
Monday.
be gone. Be on the 26th through the 2nd.
Wendy, what day are you leaving that whole week, that 21, 22,
Yeah.
23?
Mm-hmm.
So it may end up being Lawrence not being able to be here.
But there wouldn't be discussion because we would have all looked at it. I would just, I
Yeah.
just want us all to be in agreement
Yeah.
before. If one of us isn't here, I don't want it to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would the 19th be enough day? It would be 10 days?
I thought it had to be 2 weeks.
Oh.
So 2 weeks?
It wouldn't be because today's
Okay,
the first
weeks,
day
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
I was thinking 10 days.
So it'd be either the 22nd through the 26th or the 29th through whatever, you two just decide on that one. I'll be here, so either day.
I'll be fine. Jeremy.
What do you?
The 26th.
The 26th. Okay. What about the 20th? I'm not leaving till Sunday. The 21st.
Sydney, is it 2 weeks, right? It's 2 weeks,
That's
Larry?
still not 2 weeks.
Has to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Never mind, sorry.
So the week of that 22nd,
You'll be
or the,
okay.
that next week, and either one I'm fine with. That next week, let's not get toward the 4th, because that next week
Yeah.
is first, second, third, fourth,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I'm fine.
I like the 25th, if that's okay.
Is that a Thursday?
What time?
Y'all are out of school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can be.
Let's make it we don't have anything on Thursdays, right? I mean, not every.
We got the grant meeting at 11 with Rebuild. Is the only thing I have on the calendar.
How about 10 o'clock? That work?
I still work, I'm still regular, but what I could do
4:30?
is just what I could do is I could just take that time off, or just run down here for that.
Yeah.
So Thursday, June 25th at 10, right? Cindy, you'll send that out though, won't you, like a
Mhm.
reminder or something for us?
I'll do a calendar invite, yeah. All right, excellent. I didn't get a chance to call Duke Energy, but just a couple purchase requests with honorable mention. We need to call Duke and get plugs put on the telephone poles for the Christmas lights, because they would look way better lit up. And they're great.
Are they charging us for that?
I haven't called. I'll get the info. I'm sure it's not free. Sure it's not free to pay for electricity.
There for a little while, Jay was talking about giving it to us.
Oh, yeah?
He was talking about it, so
Awesome.
so if we
Kind of
can, if
talk
Jeremy,
to the folks and he'd donate some of his time.
he would donate his time to get them on there, and then,
Help a little too, but.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Jay Tippin,
I'll try to get hold of him in the morning, maybe.
if you could
Okay.
talk with Jay,
And
that'd be
get a
great.
number then for, maybe for seeing it.
That'd be great.
It's not free, cause when I did the streetlight project, I talked to Duke about that, and those streetlights have if you go down the path of getting the historical streetlights, they have the ability for the price that I gave to you to have plugs already installed, so you can put Christmas lights on the historical streetlights instead of the telephone poles, so depending on your timeline for that, that might be an alternative.
All right, thanks. Is that all, Sam?
Just one more purchase request. Just honorable mention, I think, at this point, since we're in budget season. But, did we talk about inflow shields before? I feel like I've talked about these a lot, so I don't know if they came up here. So, it had to do with the smoke testing. Some of the manholes,
Let's get the water from going.
yes, keeps the rainwater from going in the manholes. They're basically giant plastic collars. They're about $250 each. We need at least 12. That is something that I'm hoping that we could maybe sneak into the small business grant, since it would be hopefully through the business district. But we need about 12 of them, and they're $250 a piece, so.
Do we have that anywhere in our budget, like
No.
contingent of any type,
No.
any kind?
Water sewer is completely spent.
Do 250 times, what are we needing?
Mhm.
$3,000.
And that is all. Thank you.
Thanks. Sarah Jo here? We have anything for entertainment?
Yeah, we met yesterday and decided all the things. Can we use the school? Perhaps. So yeah, we're gonna have, hot dogs, hamburgers, and barbecue. We're getting, all of the bounce houses were rented months ago, because it is the big 250. So we've purchased an above-ground pool for the bigger kids and a splash pad for the smaller kids. And we're gonna have a water gun zone, and we're gonna do it later, so it kind of rolls into dinner time and the fireworks instead of early in the day, like we had been, where there's like a gap. So we're gonna start that at 4. And then the food, the waterworks part of it will go from 4 to 7, and the food part, Karen's gonna do that until 8:30.
Okay. How big's that one?
It's like 18 feet.
Deep?
Wide. Yeah.
I wanted to see if they were listening.
So, that was our improvised version of the 4th this year.
Josh, anything for the fire department?
TJ's gonna present something later on, but
Well, are you doing that?
that's where you can do it now.
Yeah. Better me.
I'm starting to delegate things.
So this is a draft scope of work for the Resilience Hub. Josh has taken a look at this. We just got this in our hands from Juliet Mountain True like an hour ago. This is to just get into their scope to the Resilience Hub project. So it's a sort of replacing a structure that's up at the fire department now with a new structure that would be, with the idea being that it's better suited for the fire department's use, but then can also be function as a resilience hub. The idea being we're better prepared for future crises. And this doesn't commit us to anything. This is just a draft scope of work for the ADC to put it into their program to hopefully get us engineers, architects that want to volunteer their time and sort of bringing in some outside experts to work with Josh and the fire department and that sort of thing to get something designed and then have a grant-ready project, and with the idea being in time for infrastructure, which is coming up fast.
It opens July 6th. Now, I thought ADC just did conceptual designs. Because you still need the engineering for the preliminary,
We
or
need
are
to
they
start-
offering
right.
engineering this time?
This is, well, same thing, this gets us there.
So it's the conceptual design, so we still need engineering services.
Right.
Okay. And that's what we need to apply for the grant, is the preliminary engineering report along with the design.
So we have a small window. This is part of getting that ball rolling. So really, we're just asking the board for, sort of approval to start that process.
We have also talked to CPL about this, so I think there's some overlap that might need to be clarified. So CPL was the engineering firm that we talked to, we met with last week.
This doesn't, like, eliminate that. This is getting more experts volunteering their time and getting this thing designed quickly.
So what do you need from us?
So, just really, we're just looking for the board's approval to get that rolling.
I don't think there has to be actual vote, does there, Larry? Get the ball rolling?
Yeah, thank you. That sounds great.
If things don't change weather-wise, if they keep going as far as periodic rain, the plant did give us permission to shoot fireworks from the lower end of their property, but in order to, I guess, make visibility better for everybody, I think for the last year, if we can start looking at the new park, this year we'll still maintain the water tank as long as it stays, I guess you could say, wet outside. Because I'm afraid if we get up there, some people will think they can see in certain areas and they won't be able to. Where at the water tank, you can just about see them from anywhere in town. That's part of the plan, as long as you guys are good with it.
Yeah, I did. Tammy asked me about that, about, having those on the new property, but the board had already agreed that Eddie needed to go ahead and be able to get the hay, off that property that he sowed back in the spring. So I called him, he said, so I told him, there would be cars parking and probably people out on blankets and quilts, and he said it would flatten it down some, but it would probably have time to recover because he's gonna cut it in September.
Yep.
But, so that's up to y'all. We told him he could still continue, it's his hay, so he could get the hay, so I would really hate to say, yeah, go ahead and do that, and then, damage his crop, So-
Also, I mean, down there right now, it's really beautiful. It's covered in clover, but there are bees everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
In addition to those active hives that are on the property. So it might not be the best time
Mhm.
for that property for several reasons. As much as it
How
would
far
be
are the
amazing to have it
How
there.
far are the bees? Because when I rode down over the weekend, and from where the bees are, it's a pretty good ways.
Right, but because the whole pasture is clover, blooming clover,
They're getting
the
all-
bees are, that's one of their favorite things. Food-wise.
What we were trying to do, or what Tammy had a great idea about, was down there where we purchased all of the land down there. That way you could drive in, our volunteer fire department could park cars, and then everybody could actually get out and put your blanket down, because there's 36 acres down there. How many acres did we purchase? 36 acres there, and you're right at the river, so then if we were shooting fireworks up down there, you could actually park there, you could watch the fireworks, then volunteer fire department, you could just turn them back out and go out. So what we were trying to do is use, what we have and be able to have a space where everybody could sit and actually see that. And so that's what we were working on, that's what the discussion was actually about, so. That's what we were trying to do, and Josh was actually, he was in the conversation a little bit, trying to say, well, maybe, and then, because it's hard to not be able to see, the fireworks. So that's what we're actually talking about, is that a good space or not? So.
It's probably a wonderful space, but.
Well, in the future, if we can get it laid out and once he gets the hay cut in September, to go down, look at it, and see where we can set up down low. That way, people up, ideally park up the road, and then as they shoot, your bird's eye view, you're right there. You should be able to, I mean, you're gonna be looking straight at them for the most part. But we just have to figure out the distances for us to make sure we're away from the barn and any of the houses, to follow the guidelines for the pyrotechnics, which we should be
Yeah.
from anywhere on that property, but we'll just take some looking this fall. I've got a question for Mr. Leak. I haven't sent you an email yet, like I've told the mayor I would. Our substation in Firefly, we need to try and get that figured out, on what the town needs to do and how, if they need to set up a meeting with their board, with the HOA, because the town doesn't own the property where we put the substation. They just said, you can do it. Maybe get a quarter acre from them. What do we need to do with that? Get them to 99-year lease?
Think you need to get them to commit the property's yours and you get to keep it. You can do that by way of a 99-year lease. And you can do that by way of saying it's yours. The preferable way would be to say it's yours. But you could live with either.
That way it gives the town ownership over the building in order to transfer the power bills out of the Firemen's Association name into the town's. And then any building insurance, anything from that point forward would be responsibility of the town. We still have the rural fire tax that we're working on. We've got some signatures out of Firefly. We've got to work on down the river and those residents up Spring Creek to try and get it to ballot, which is too late by my understanding to get it this year, but we will have it ready for anything next spring if there's any primaries held or anything like that. So is that a meeting that you guys want to try and set up? Or you want me to try and get the HOA president to come to a town meeting?
I think somebody needs to make sure that the homeowners association's for this venture. I mean,
It's on community property up there, so the HOA should have the approval.
well, they've got to so express that approval.
Yeah. And their next meeting's not until September, I believe.
Well, then you're not gonna be doing anything until that occurs, and I think they need to be educated about what your plan is and sold on the idea.
Sounds good.
So you gonna talk to them again?
I'll talk to Michael and let him know what we need to work on and ask him when that next meeting is. I'm pretty sure September when they have their annual meeting and everybody comes in.
And if they're a homeowners association, it's a typical homeowners association, you're gonna need a 2/3 vote. And that's a 2/3 vote of the association positively, not
As a whole.
not 2/3 members present. And that vote can occur by mail, but you got to get a 2/3 vote. How many residents are there?
Permanent?
How many are members of the homeowners association?
That is a number I don't have because there's several people that own multiple lots. I've got the number of lots, but I don't have the list of everybody that owns property up there.
Well, that would be a critical factor because you're gonna need their addresses.
They've got it. I'll delegate that off on them to.
Well, it sort of depends upon who wants it the most. Does the homeowners association want it the most or the Hot Springs Fire Department?
Well, they wanted it for insurance purposes, because there's part of their subdivision that couldn't get homeowners or reasonable homeowners because they were outside the 5 mile or 6 mile district. So,
Okay, thank you. Jeremy?
Good. Good check, thanks.
Is Tim there anything for planning or something?
No, ma'am.
TJ?
Well,
Hey, Bill?
actually I have something, this is, it's actually not rebuild, this is TJ Phillips, resident of Hot Springs. I have a, hand this out for you guys. Nobody needs to be reminded of what we all went through September 27th, 2024, we all lived it. And we've spent many months since rebuilding and learning. What I'm asking the board tonight to formally recognize September 27th as Preparedness Day. It's not a holiday in the sense of anything closing down for the day, but a day of observance. Be a day for the community to come together as neighbors and share what we learned, and as a yearly reminder to take stock of your supplies, test your radios, check the oil in your generator, and to take a day together to think about all the things we can be doing as individuals and as a community to be better prepared for any future crisis we might be dealt. Naming it Preparedness Day is how we honor everything hard we went through as a community by turning it into protection for everyone who comes after us. So I prepared a resolution for the board to consider adopting September 27th as Preparedness Day.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, this is good. Have a motion from the board to adopt the resolution to make September 27th Preparedness Day for the town of Hot Springs,
Make a motion.
every September 27th.
All of them.
Second,
Yeah, second.
all in favor?
Thanks, TJ.
Thank you.
It's a good idea.
Nice put up there.
Good idea.
We have a potluck.
Clean out your freezer properly. Clean out your freezer.
It can always be at the same spot.
That's right.
Laura, anything for taxes?
I do. As of this afternoon, the town has collected 99.10% of the 25 real taxes.
Wow.
There's only $2,863.38 is owed for 2025 taxes. And then we do have a few that still owe previous years. And we currently have a balance of $7,113.95. So I think that's great.
Yep.
That's great.
Great
Good
job.
At this time, there's only 6 property owners who owe $500 or more in delinquent taxes. And this has been referred to Mr. Leake, requesting that he send out demand letters to these 6 people. So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have more, but I think that's pretty darn good.
Yep, very good. Kevin,
Yeah, just for the folks that couldn't attend the presentation of the community center and old Jill, just to piggyback off what Cena was saying, you can visit the town website or Rebuild's website to see those conceptual drawings, and the ADC is accepting feedback. They haven't given me a deadline, but I assume at least for a couple more weeks. So take a look at those, leave your feedback. That's it.
The survey's still open.
Yep, the survey's
for
still
feedback.
Yeah.
That's the same one that went out on the postcard?
Yes.
It may be quicker than that, cause I know the deadline for the grants.
Okay. So I only have, believe it or not, one thing. We have, when maintenance reads the water meters, they're printed out a list. And they read everything, even the inactive and vacant. So they read all the meters. And there's some inactive, that have usage. So I would like for the board to approve creating a letter to send out stating your account is listed as inactive, however, you have had water usage over the past 2 months, 3 months, however long it is, and you will be receiving a bill. And for the vacant accounts, I don't think there's many vacant that
A
have.
lot of those straightened out in the last week or so with Florida this time around. Because in the software, it's kind of throwing the numbers off a little bit sometimes with the vacants. And went through with Laura, and these ladies in here and got a good bit of that straightened out. There's still a few roaming around out there, like the mayor said, that there's, you know, everybody has their opinion about meters, but they won't turn unless water's going through them. And so, they're using it.
Do we know if that's happening, if it's a leak? Like if someone owns property here and they live far away or whatever?
We check
Do we
those,
know if that's a leak?
to see that when we read that the wheel's turning or not turning. If it is were to be turning, then we always document that and try to get up with those folks and let them know that, you know, if they want us to turn it off, if we can, or if they would like to have somebody come and check it out, see if they can fix it, whatever be the case. Because if things are turning, they've got something going on for sure.
So if the account is inactive,
Well, when the list is printed out, you know, when they pull up the billing, you two are gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong about this, but when they pull up the software to create the bills, it doesn't bring up inactive accounts. But the guys still, it's on their list, so they read them, so we know water's being used.
so I'm just wondering, like, are these accounts that someone had the service cut off, so they were then inactive? So are the people that have activity on an inactive account, does that mean they never paid a deposit for that account?
Don't have the answer to that.
There's a few different scenarios and they're very varied. So if a property is listed vacant, that means there's no name tied to the account, like the person's moved, maybe there's, you know, no longer a business or home there. An inactive account is when water's turned off, like somebody has moved away and the meter is turned off. Not all meters turn off as long or as well as others, but so sometimes we see like snowbirds, for example. Sometimes they don't tell us. They might go to the meter, turn it on, or something. There's just all kinds of different scenarios. So there's still a name on the account, but maybe at one time they requested it to be off, and now they're back at that property working on it and haven't notified us that they're utilizing water. So an inactive account will have a name, an address, and all the billing stuff.
And the main point of that is to, I mean, if churches have meters, some of them do, some of them don't, just to say, or at the fire department, or at the EMS base, but the fire department, we're still trying to track gallons, because really important to, you know, the billing stuff that they do in here is important, but we need to read all that we can to track gallons as well. We need to know what we're running through the distribution system.
We report those to the DEQ, like the water pumped out of the well to the water that gets billed to the water that gets, I don't wanna say pumped, but goes to the treatment plant. So we're tracking a lot, and there's a lot more folks with eyes on our water system with all these grants now. And we've been working with DEQ, I don't know, about 8 months? We've been figuring out these water usage numbers.
So if we do this, then it will, that first month that you send them a letter, also maybe they do have a leak. And it's gonna give them some kind of idea of, okay, they say water's being used. Or if they're not there, maybe somebody is in their house using the water and they don't know it. And, so.
If they had an outside hose bib or something like that, you know.
That's happened before, right, TJ?
So do you need a motion for the letter? Or just,
Well, if you agree, then we will compose a letter and then bring it to the next meeting and let you review it and approve it.
sounds good?
All right? That's all I have. Wendy?
I have a few things. Let's see. So in, basically, we had been discussing the cell phone situation and the lack of service since T-Mobile took over US Cellular. And Abby has gone directly there. And what we kind of decided was it would be good to approach the commissioners to see if they'd be willing to sign on to a letter to T-Mobile. So I spoke with Mr. Wetzel, and they are. So I wrote just a draft letter to the commissioners and then a letter that will attach that would be the one that they are signing on to. So I don't know if I should read them or if y'all just want to say you're good with it or.
Because we've been talking about that. I don't think we had an opportunity to be able to say, no, I want to keep US Cellular. I think everybody's just having to be exchanged over. And we wanted to get the county involved.
Just to kind of elevate it, you know.
It needs to be elevated. We're there's 500 residents that live here. You know, we used to have some type of cell service that would actually work in this town. And just because we live here doesn't mean we shouldn't be able to use a cell phone here. We're residents that pay taxes and we're a town, so we should be able to have some type of cell service. So thank you, Wendy, for getting the letter started. But we're advocating largely and loudly for that, to get some help to advocate for ourselves.
Two of the things in particular that I asked in the letter was a timeline and if they could bring in cells on wheels, which they do in like an emergency situation to boost capacity. If they could do something like that in the meantime, can they? I have no idea, but those things do exist. So I'm hoping, I really kind of press the emergency services aspect of it because obviously our emergency services already have a geographical challenge because we're so rural and big in the county. So I kind of made that the focus.
Who's the letter to again?
There's one to the commissioners and then that they will then sign on to the T-Mobile, the letter that will go to T-Mobile.
Is T-Mobile the company that helicoptered in with a bajillion headlamps?
They did. With
Is
the
that
pink
what that was?
bags.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're like,
They're pink.
they, like
The
a
pink
super high
bags.
up at the
Pink bags.
company is friends with the former Iron Horse Karen.
Oh, that's right, she went to
And
school.
There
her
we
like
go.
bestie
That's
is
what
like
we
the
needed.
CEO, and so they
There
just
we
like
go.
showed up
There we
with like
go.
so much stuff.
See, communication is great.
Go back to her.
Yes.
Karen.
Every volunteer was like,
Karen.
this
Right
day
there.
was so cool. T-Mobile just showed up and started throwing stuff out the window.
Chargers. And,
Yeah.
There we go. That's what we
Good thought.
So go find
Okay,
it.
so the manager at the Weevil store did say that he would like to, if the town would cooperate with them to bring him like a mobile unit like they had at the
The
school
school at that time.
several years ago.
Great.
So, great. Get this letter and then let him know. So if they did bring one, Skills on Wheels, would it be okay to place it out of school again until school starts back?
They would
But
have
if
students
not,
there, yeah.
They could come and, you agree that they could come and find a location for it that would work?
That would work, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And one time when I went in up there, they were talking about the panels, like, T-Mobile would just take over the US Cellular panel or the Verizon panel that's up here. But for some reason, I don't know if they have yet or have not yet, but it should be more powerful when they do. But I really let them know today when I was up there that no, it's definitely not happened yet because, you still can't use the phone down here. So, yes.
Is this people even with T-Mobile service aren't
Yes.
able to use the phones? Cause I know my Verizon went out, but I just assumed that was like a
T-Mobile is not
partnership
working well.
issue.
Like if I leave my house, I don't have service.
Yes.
I only have
Ditto.
service because of the Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
So you should be able to live in Hot Springs and use a cell phone, period. If you choose to, if not, you can turn it off and not have one, but if you want one, you should be able to live here and use a cell phone. Yes,
Yeah, comment. I had US Cellular, now switched to T-Mobile. I visited AT&T office in Asheville today. They claimed that their map shows they have good service in Hot Springs.
we have some people that have AT&T here, and I think it's spotty, just from listening to them.
It works fine for me.
Works great here.
It
I
sounds like,
I'll start to say, I hear a lot of good things from
excellent,
AT&T.
well, then maybe then our town needs to go to AT&T if it's gonna work. All I want is a cell phone that will work here.
And two, I don't know if it makes a difference, but people have been going to Newport AT&T rather than Asheville. So I don't know if maybe they have, a lesser bandwidth
So
or
Tim, you're
lesser use,
So-
so it's
well?
a better
Yeah,
connection,
we're
or I don't
5G
know.
all the
but-
time now that we've switched over.
Yeah.
The thing I will tell you, if you're gonna go to Newport, plan on spending the day. There's one lady. And she is busy.
now, isn't she?
I
She
do
said
have
she's seeing
AT&T.
several people from Hot Springs
No.
every
T-Mobile now.
Well, Josh,
But I'm
don't you have
thinking
AT&T?
has a
Have
number
of people available, and they move, even if there's a lot of people on the waiting list, it moves through quickly. And it shouldn't matter where you get sign up for the service, the service is the same in our area. And I've had AT&T since I got here, and I have no problems with it. Now, will I get a spot here and there, like, there's one right across from the meal site, but it's a glitch that's only as far as the meal site to the school kind of thing, and just little places like that. But I have no problem anywhere in the town talking on AT&T.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. Josh, you have AT&T?
I do, but I cheat. I got FirstNet. I got the emergency
Okay,
service.
so you're not having problems? I thought you were.
We do, my whole family does, and the guy that is over the region that put this tower online, he actually called me directly because Sheriff Harwood had him call me in regards to the fire department things. Once we get past Fairview Church, kaput. Because the umbrella of that tower doesn't reach, and the two ridges between me and this tower block it. So if I'm at home, it's hit or miss whether or not I have good service unless I'm Wi-Fi calling. Now, once I get into town with FirstNet, I'm good. Same way with Ashley and Carter for the most part, but we all know how Interstate 40 is, and when that happens, forget it. Your AT&T's not gonna work on those
So many
days.
people.
So many people's overloading it, and there's also a contest between T-Mobile and AT&T of who wants to be the bigger dog. They don't agree well with one another. There's not an antenna on that tower up there. So the roaming issue is we're going from this to Barnett Mountain in Marshall is how we're maintaining service.
Well, I think
And they need to work that out. That's something that you you might need to talk with commissioners
We'll
about
still work
is
on that.
they
T-Mobile
need
and
to work
AT&T.
out their own problems. Yeah, it's a different cell phone provider, but that shouldn't restrict who people have the choice to go with.
Absolutely. We should be able to have both down here on the tower. So,
Okay,
we'll keep working on that.
all right, thank you. Is that all you have?
The other thing, I just want to, I'm super excited about the property, the new property. And have just been thinking about ways that it can be sustainable, for the town to keep long-term. And I think, one thing to consider would be putting a conservation easement on the part of the property that, isn't the sewage treatment plant. So that we know that it will always remain a public space for the community. You can be very involved in what the conservation easement, how it's written and what you want to include. And I just think it makes good sense to protect it. And I think, given the incredible stories that Mr. Franklin told, I think it would be in good faith for their family to know as well that the town always intends for it to be a public space. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you guys like that idea, I'm happy to research it more and, figure out what it would take, and I'm sure Larry has lots of things to say about it. So yeah, I just think that, and also exploring different partnerships, with the Nature Conservancy. There's tons of partners that we could have to help maintain the actual, if we have a walking trail around the perimeter, if we have river access, there's lots of groups that we could partner with to make it a maintainable situation long-term and take as much, expense and maintenance off of the town as we're able to with partners that would benefit. So, that, and the last thing, Josh, can you guys fill up the above-ground pool for the 4th of July?
Have you got 18 feet worth of water? No, I'm just kidding.
Where's it gonna be at?
At the school.
Probably.
Okay. I'll get some
We'll have
buckets
to get
in
it
case
for
you
the
can't.
kids, you know that.
If I can find people that are available.
Okay. You could train Sarah Joe and I up real quick.
Well, I took a hose to the hydrant, but you ain't gonna like it. I have a couple people that can hold it.
We'll be flying around. And then the last thing, I just wanted to run by y'all, and let you know, I was asked to speak, so there's a concert coming up next week that is a fundraiser for Land of Sky. And it is sponsored by the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association along with Duke Power. And they asked me to speak about Helene and the microgrid. Essentially, they're wanting to understand how it worked. They want to hear the exact specifics of what happened here. And also what could be improved upon. So I feel like it's a really good opportunity to go. And then after I spoke with him, I found out that the next day they're having a roundtable, members from the General Assembly, wanting to also hear about what our microgrid experience was. So it's an opportunity to say things like, we need bigger batteries. And
Absolutely.
and obviously highlight it was amazing that we had it during Helene. But in addition to just making you guys aware of that, it's in Mills River, so it's 50 miles in one direction. So, and the talk is the next day. So either I would be driving 4 times back and forth to Mills River, or, which comes to like $200 and some dollars. What was the total? $281. Or if I were able to get a room, it would be $213 with the mileage and the room. and I wouldn't have to drive back and forth 4 times. So I didn't know if it was in the budget.
But don't we have like classes and she's presenting at this point, couldn't that be part of that line item?
When is it?
It is this Thursday and Friday.
Or certifications or things like
I
that?
think, would it be considered under continuing education or no? Because it's like a public speaking, it'd be a special meeting.
Well, she's educating them, so.
Yeah. What would that be under?
Continuing education.
Sydney, what would that be under?
Continuing, okay.
So yes.
Then there probably is. I don't think we've used much out of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, I was shocked.
Thanks for spending
Yeah,
your time.
it's cool. I'm happy to do it.
They can pay for your hotel.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Tammy?
All I had was about the fireworks, but we already talked about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Josh started talking about fireworks and I was, oh, by the way. Lisa?
I was just gonna say thank you to this group, because I got down here later on, but these 3 ladies up here got the whole, and Mr. Leek over there, you did a great job speaking at, when Mr. Franklin and his family came on that Saturday morning. It was a good event down the river, and we were wanting to do it outside on the property, but it was of course raining and it was inside, but it was really good that day, and thank you to all that ended up coming. It was just a really good day. The family really wants that property to be used for something good and amazing, and so that was a special day, so thank you for doing that. I think a lot of times what we do is we get stuck in this rut of just moving on to the next thing and on to the next thing and on to the next thing and on to the next thing. So TG, I think this was just perfect for you to bring this resolution tonight so that we could take a moment to be thankful for where our feet are today. Because if you go back a couple of years, we sure wouldn't be sitting in this building today. So much work goes on behind the scenes, and as many of you may know with grants and the way grants roll out, it takes time to get from one section to the next section to the next section. And we get impatient, everybody does. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the people that are doing the mundane, the day-to-day. Because without the day-to-day, you can't do all the visionary either. So a lot of that goes on behind the scenes. So I just wanted to say thank you for that side of it. I'm glad you mentioned electricity. I was a little frustrated the other day because the things I feel like living in Hot Springs, you should be able to have water. And where I live, I choose to live up there, but I still pay for my water, but we're up high. So anytime we start not having water, these are giggling at me now, but I'll send the text out that I've texted Jeremy. There's a leak in town. It is amazing. I can tell you if there's a leak in town when I don't have water pressure. And Jeremy's like, okay, I'll go find it. That is crazy. So I feel like, we're still looking at water. We're still looking at sewer. We're still making progress. And electricity, when it goes out, I'm still, I'm so thankful for Duke. I'm so thankful for our microgrid, but I do feel like it shouldn't be at least 12 to 24 hours before electricity comes back on in our small town. You can live anywhere else and electricity will come on in 3 to 6 hours. But it still takes us 12, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, 12 to 24 hours. And when you work away the next day and you have to get up and go to work, I mean, it's, that's tough for people to do. So those are things in the back of our mind all the time that we are working on and trying to make it better. Cell phones, that's another thing I had written down, but Wendy's on trying to really get on top of that one too. I just feel strongly that you can choose to live here and be off the grid if you want to, but if you want to be on the grid, you should be able to do that too. So that's what we're working strongly to do. So that's it for me, Abby.
Thank you. Thank you all. At this time, I need a motion to move to executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor?
7:19.
Trade-off.